Philip Littlejohn has more than just an interest in the Titanic. His grandfather Alexander was a first-class steward who survived the disaster. He later confirmed to reporters that musicians on board were playing as the ship sank.
And he said, well, the band were playing, but I don't know what tune it was. He said, all I could hear were the terrible cries for help. They were awful and heartrending.
The eponymous Hollywood blockbuster rekindled worldwide interest in the Titanic. Alexander Littlejohn would have been serving the equivalent of Kate Winslet in the first-class dining room and was ordered onto a lifeboat to help women and children as the ship sank. Philip still has his grandfather's discharge book, a record of his career at sea. The voyage on the Titanic is recorded. Destination: intended New York, because the ship never arrived. And this is a gold sovereign, a tip his grandfather placed in his pocket before the collision, along with a steward's salt spoon, the only two possessions Alexander Littlejohn had on him as he was ordered into Lifeboat 13. How did the sinking of the Titanic affect your grandfather?
Oh, I mean, the obvious effect are pictures of him before and after. There is a picture of him on the rescue ship, on the Carpathia. Quite clearly, still dark hair and dark moustache. 6 months later, he goes back to work. He's issued with a new discharge book. And in the front of that, it says colour of hair white. So between April and October, he went completely white through the effects of shock.
The Titanic loomed large in the public consciousness long after the disaster. So much so they built several memorials like this around Britain. At this one in Southampton, 100,000 people turned out to see it being unveiled. But many of those who survived the tragedy never wanted to speak of it again.
And did he ever talk about it?
Never talked about it. Like most male survivors, there was a sense of guilt that he had survived when women and children were still on the boat.
In 2001, Philip Littlejohn went in a submarine to the wreck of the Titanic, an important personal pilgrimage.
I wanted to see the ship that my grandfather had left. You look in through windows and think about people inside that wreck.
100 years on, this fleeting image of the Titanic is the only moving film of the doomed liner. Her sister ship, the Olympic, got all the attention for her maiden voyage in 1911. Alexander Littlejohn was there somewhere on those crowded decks, but it was his experience a year later on Titanic that left him with that shock of white hair, an enduring reminder of that cold, dark night in April 1912. Dan Rivers, CNN, Southampton.